Alright guys, I'm Will Hagerty. This is my son Caden. We'll talk about some techniques today. We'll do a cross lasso series or a lasso series from both sides, from top and bottom, and some attacks in between. We're starting from a standard spider guard. Extending the bottom leg, getting off to one hip, using our leg for our lasso leg. I'm going to use it to a cross side. So feeding it into the armpit, aiming for my foot region, right into the pit. My next goal is shrimping into my opponent or shrimping to face them, creating a good frame / bend in my leg. Once I create a good angle, I'm going to use that extension to knock them off balance. Following that, just follow up, far underhook, and good top control. Do it again. Standard spider, cross lasso, create a good shrimp, initiating the solid frame, extend to knock them off balance, follow. Good spider, cross lasso. Again, being in a good standard spider guard, keeping a good extension on that leg. When I'm ready, I'm going to use my free lasso leg to feed into the far armpit. Following that armpit, I'm going to go ahead and release my spider guard hook and just keep shrimping until I create a good bend where I got good extension. Initiate a good sweep. Following that, just follow up best way possible to secure top position. Okay, so now we'll go into a submission variation from a counter defense from the top position. So the first variation works really well because it allows the shrimp in that frame to knock your partner off balance. When they're not expecting it, they'll get dumped very easily. So go back to that first variation. Again, feeding that cross lasso in position. Once I initiate a good shrimp, and I got good positioning, usually if they're not ready for it and they stay on their knees, I can create a nice good lever to knock them off balance. Using my top leg, just curl up and just whatever works best for your body type to kind of get yourself on top to kind of get the top position or solidify the sweep. Now we're looking at an approach where they use their leg as a post. The same approach with our good standard spider guard, cross lasso. When I'm ready, I initiate my shrimp. I extend, this time they counter, right? So oftentimes we'll sit here trying to use this same sweep effect, but they're posting up. So I lost my angle. Instead of overexerting on that, I'm going to extend this top arm, pull it into my armpit. So my goal is extending, pulling to my armpit so I can isolate the hand. My top leg now, I'm going to reach over and try to get my lower portion of my calf right behind their shoulder blade. So right over their shoulder blade, staying nice and parallel. What that does, it allows my thigh to be directly in line with their elbow. To finish the technique, I just turn my knee in the inside for a quick tap, right? But the key component to the move is ensuring that's the lower portion of my calf. If I go too deep, I no longer have pressure behind their elbow. So first key thing is ensuring that the hand is in my armpit, thumb ideally inside the pocket, isolate their elbow, leg, right over the shoulder. From here, everything's in line, turn my knee in the inside for a tap. Change angle. Again, off standard sweep variation, cross lasso, looking for my extension, they counter. From here, I'm gonna pull in just enough where I can isolate the hand, isolate the elbow, my leg now targets right behind their shoulders. Right at their shoulders, lower cap behind their neck, using my knee in the inside, just turning for a quick tap. Cross lasso, shrimp, I extend, they counter, pull to the armpit, catch, isolate the elbow, but my leg needs to catch right parallel to their shoulders, in line with their elbow, turning on the inside for a tap. So same lasso position, cross lasso for armpit, creating a shrimp, ensuring that I create a good bend so I have a good solid frame. This time my opponent uses their free leg to counter the pressure. From here, I'm using it to retract armpit over their hand, right? The goal is trying to get the hand directly in my armpit, thumb into my pit. Isolating, I don't want it too deep because I need to get good proximity to their elbow. Bottom portion of my leg is going parallel to their shoulders. So I'm aiming for lower portion of my calf, ankle region right over their shoulders, allowing with a big torque in my thigh in line with their elbow. Torquing in the inside. Press for a tap. Okay. The key again from here is armpit, isolation. This is just really guiding and holding. The key on my top leg is ensuring that I get parallel to their shoulders initially so I have big torque effect. If I go diagonal down their back, one, I might be past their elbow. Two, I don't have the same torque, right? So if my leg is going towards their back, diagonal, that torque is not the same. But if I'm in line with their shoulders, I have a lot of press and bend for the submission. Cross lasso, create the shrimp, using that lever, they create a post. Pulling it in so I can line that armpit into their hand. When I'm ready, free leg over their shoulders, lining up parallel. Using this nice good knee torque, turning my thigh on the inside to create a good nice fulcrum in their elbow. Give yourself. Okay, so next variation we're going to talk about from here is the same approach using the cross lasso, right? We don't get the sweep because we get a good counter on my opponent's part. Boom, they're countering. Next objective was looking for that straight arm lock. So I pull, retract till I get the armpit in line with his hand. Top leg is still aiming for the same target. So the intermittent submission from here would be looking for that arm lock. If I lock this position or they turn that arm before I can start putting pressure, turn it all the way down. That allows me to lock into this arm, right? Next option that I have is I'm gonna move right into an Omoplata variation. So from here, the top leg, before I release the sleeve, is gonna go over their head. Once I'm in line over their head and I'll change the angle, he's gonna when I release, natural reaction is to start coming up top. Boom, that allows my leg to be free, and we have a regular Omoplata. So again, another option from the cross lasso variation. So being here, feeding everything in, creating that shrimp, looking for my first sweep attempt. He counters out with that post. I'm looking for that first variation, arm lock. Trapping that hand, using the leg over their shoulders. This time they turn that elbow in, or I lack that arm catch, right? So I lack controlling the arm. Isolating their arm right in this position. I have a perfect opportunity for Omoplata. What I'm gonna do is different variation. So one, what's keeping his posture broken down is my top leg over the top of his shoulders, as well as keeping control of the far lasso. Right? That cross lasso initiation hook is pulling his shoulder down. So from here, when I release, right, that's when he's going to kind of posture all the way up. But I don't want to release until I start prepping my top leg over their head. So my leg starts prepping over their head. I release so I can unravel myself, but he does a lot of the work for me trying to release that arm. This allows myself to free my leg, and we can move into our standard Omoplata. But prior to going over for the Omoplata, what I'm going to do is look into locking, if you're able to, chasing their top leg, right? The leg that they used to post. For the finish, all we're doing is extending. So I got good isolation, hooked into their calf / knee pit, and just extend for submission. Cross lasso approach, looking for the sweep. They counter. Going for that first submission. Isolate, isolate, looking for the top leg. They turn that arm, so they lack that arm lock variation. I'm isolating the shoulder, right, by controlling the elbow. Top leg, again, is going over their head before I release the sleeve. If you let this go early, they're going to be posturing really high. So I go over their head to kind of help isolate and prep that shoulder. Release the sleeve, allows them to unravel. Now this is the key component. What I'm trying to do is catch that far leg. Based on your flexibility, you can use it with a figure 4 or catch a figure 4 after. Some people are not able to figure 4 then reach. Some people cannot hook and then figure 4. So whatever works best for you, right? Isolate the figure 4 if you want to. Find that far leg Extend both legs for your submission. Okay? So again, starting in our cross lasso variation sweep, for our armpit, creating your shrimp, top leg frame. Now I'm going for my extension, they post. Going for the first submission, I retract to isolate their arm. Isolate their elbow, top leg is looking forward parallel to the shoulders, lower portion of the calf. They're able to turn that arm in, so this gives me an opportunity to move into that next variation attack. So I'm isolating the elbow. Prior to releasing the sleeve, I got to ensure that I'm over the head. So once I'm over their head, this allows me to release and unravel. This is where you're going to find a lot of friction, but common reaction for the person on top is retracting that shoulder so they can get up and counter the Omoplata variation. But this gives me a perfect opportunity. Isolate that far calf. Extend both legs to put good pressure on the shoulder. Foot leg calf. Right? You can always transition to your standard Omoplata. But prior to getting all the way here, taking that big angle, we can isolate it prior. Right? Finish the technique. We'll talk about another common reaction from there, right? From Omoplata position, what tends to happen is they'll start posturing up. So you'll get different reactions from Omoplatas. Standard, fancy, whatever variation is you'll get a big heavy posture, or you'll get somebody conceding the position and will roll through the pocket. So once you're entangled in the submission, trying to roll and alleviate pressure. So from that aspect, the same variation that we're working, everything works the same. So I'm creating a good angle, far cross lasso, looking for my shrimp. Creating that movement. Isolating the arm, looking for that first variation submission. They bend that arm, isolating the elbow. Remember the rules, right? I'm going over the head first before I release the sleeve. This is keeping their posture broken down by keeping that far shoulder down with this cross lasso variation. But the moment I let go of that sleeve, you can always anticipate them to come out. Very common reactions, we let go and we're trying to unravel. Not realistic. As soon as you let go of this position, they're always trying to retract that shoulder. So as they're retracting and pulling that out, I let it go and release. This allows my opportunity to lock into my Omoplata variation. And again, I like to call it a slight variation, right? So instead of going to a traditional Omoplata, I'm looking to lock into that, creating that hyperextension of that arm with two legs for the submission. Well, like I said, a common reaction is very heavy posture. This isolates everything because I'm locked in on their calf where they can't posture up. So the next option, if they're flexible enough, is rolling through. If they roll through, we got to ride that wave, right? I'm staying connected, hitchhiking that ride with my opponent all the way through. So if he takes that opportunity to roll, I stay and I follow. And all I do is the exact same thing in reverse, extend. So same thing. Setting up my cross lasso, creating my shrimp, top leg frames. When I'm ready to initiate the sweep, we get that counter reaction. Looking for that armpit variation, first intermediate submission, top leg chasing that shoulder, right? They bend to counter the pressure. Isolating the elbow. The key is over the head prior to releasing the sleeve. Over their head, I release the sleeve. Common reaction is unraveling. This allows me time to lock in my figure four, catch that far leg. And again, options from here is usually posturing up, but I'm isolating the shoulder while locked into that far leg, makes it very difficult. Their common reaction would be, if they're flexible, is rolling through to alleviate pressure. I just ride that wave. He goes to that roll, I follow all the way through, right? Puts me in a perfect position just in reverse, and all I do is extend for the top.
We
Okay, so now we'll look at it in a reverse standpoint. So looking at it in a counter perspective when the opponent's trying to use that cross lasso and how we kind of mitigate and shut that down. So partner's coming on bottom. So initiating the same variation for that cross lasso, they find that far side. So one, if I do nothing, you're gonna get swept. So understanding that a common reaction once he creates that big shrimp is they start extending. I use my free leg to kind of post and counterbalance that weight, right? From here, there's options that we can do. If I do nothing again, he's gonna start attacking if they're sound on the techniques. But to approach it from here, what I'm gonna do is pass this knee line with my upper lat. So my armpit / lat needs to beat this knee line, right? So very common, I can just use this movement right over the top if they're overemphasizing in the sweep. So if I give good counter pressure, usually they're gonna keep pressuring back into trying to sweep, right? So as he's keeping that big angle, what I'm gonna do is use my lat, dumping past this knee. So from here, boom, once I cross that knee line, all I'm doing is countering back, and staying heavy into like a leg drag. Though he still has a lasso, I have good upper leverage to kind of help break and rotate this grip so I can pass. All right. The person goes for that counter lasso, or cross lasso, excuse me. He goes to the cross lasso. As he goes for the extension, I create that post. That post is stopping, counterbalancing everything. I'm hoping or banking that they're gonna give me extra pressure on that extension so I can beat that knee line, right? So I'm stopping that. My goal is beating this knee line with my armpit. What I like to do is I roll my arm up while I crowd, compressing everything in nice and tight, right? Stapling their top leg. This allows me time so I can start beating this grip. Keep prying until that grip breaks. Now we can use gripping and finish top. So opponent goes for their cross lasso. We're here. As soon as he goes for the extension, again, top leg helps stopping that base or creating a good base, counterbalancing everything. Banking on that, they use overextension of the leg, right? They're gonna keep looking for that sweep variation. From here, it's giving me an opportunity to pass my armpit over that thigh / knee. From here, all I'm doing is crowding back into my opponent, looking to hopefully staple that top leg, and I can start prying out this grip, defending or getting away from this grip. Once I break the grip, we can pass on Will. Controlling top upper body control, moving myself into good side control. Partner goes again, cross lasso. As soon as you feel that pressure coming back, I need to counterbalance everything. We get an overextension of the leg. I move my lat pass, crowding, aiming a staple, or just staying heavy over their hips. From here, prying my grip out. As soon as my grip is free, solidifying top control. The pass. Okay, so now we'll talk about a same position that we just worked, right? Very often though, in that top leg, beating with our lat, depending on like our flexibility, becomes difficult because it's a big movement to create to get our lat / armpit over that knee line. So another option that we got from here is kind of falling ourselves into a leg drag variation. So same approach. They go for that good extension and create that counterbalance. This is what I'm talking about. Passing this lat over that knee becomes difficult. Keep the extension. So passing that lat becomes difficult, right? Because I can't lower it past that. What I'm doing now, I'm gonna move myself into a leg drag type position or fall into it. If I drop my knee, shoulder goes down, falling right into a good position from here, right? Isolating here, my target though is still my armpit. Once I cross that armpit over that top leg, I'm basing back all the way up, just like a technical get up. My objective is putting all my weight onto my shoulder, using my toes and my legs, while keeping good engagement of that thigh, right? So I base my hips up, putting weight on my shoulder, flare my top knee. When I'm ready, I extend, following up, allowing me to staple that top leg in the same position we were previously. Freeing this grip. Once we free our grip, top control is already available for the pass. Okay, so another approach we're going to look at is partners going for that same variation with that cross lasso sweep. And what tends to happen is when they're using that mechanic and I'm posting, counterbalancing, they get that overextension, but sometimes it's hard to pass that knee line. So the next approach I like to do from here is I'll move myself into like a falling leg drag. So I drop my knee, shoulder down, isolating this top leg, right? This far leg. Well, my key objective is, again, before I follow back up, is passing this lat or my armpit over their knee. So I still roll everything up over, isolating. My goal is to get all my weight to my shoulder using my toe, my back leg on the mat, so I can get my hips up, transitioning my weight to my shoulder. Now I can flare my knee. Now I can transition myself all the way up by extending and balancing on top. Stapling the top leg as we did previously. Now I can focus on rolling this arm and freeing this top grip. And all we're doing is passing again. Putting on top. Partner's going for that cross lasso, same variation. Counterbalance everything. Good post, good counter. I can't beat that knee line, right? It's tough, it's difficult, so I'm dropping into a leg drag. Here, clearing that knee line. Once I clear the knee line, I'm transferring all my weight to my shoulder, using my toes, raising my hips up. Flare my knee wide. This allows me to start transitioning my weight coming on top. Stapling the top leg, addressing the grip while maintaining top pressure in that leg. As soon as we clear and free, you're on top, easy pass. Right? Isolate the head, upper body, control the hips / good side control. Same approach, cross lasso. There you go. Counterbalance everything. Isolating. I can't beat that knee. Now I'm dropping into a long step. Beating that knee line, transferring my weight up to my shoulder. So I distribute all my weight to my shoulder, driving off my toes, raising my hips. Flare my knee. Once my weight is there, now I can extend to help base on top. Stapling the top leg while maintaining the upper thigh control. Free my grip, then we can solidify the pass. So again, one more time, partner goes to the cross lasso, counterbalance, good post. I can't beat that knee line. Now I'm dropping into a leg drag. Knee down, shoulder, isolate. When I'm ready, after I beat the top leg, bringing my weight all the way up to my shoulder. So transitioning my weight to my shoulder, flaring my knee. Once my weight's distributed to my knee, using my leg to extend to help get that momentum to get on top. If you break the grip on the fall, which tends to happen, right? So once I fall, if I break that grip, when I'm transitioning up, use that free hand and help push yourself on top. Isolating that top leg, and then when you're ready, because we already broke the grip, securing good side control. Okay, so now we'll look at it as we'll approach it again in the same standpoint, give another common reaction from the person on bottom, right? So one, they're usually trying to stop that leg from us passing or moving into a leg drag. But another variation, once they know they lost that leg, right? So again, he goes for that cross lasso sweep variation, I post. I can't beat that, so I'm falling into my leg drag. Knee goes down, shoulder, falling into that far leg drag, beating this top lat, right? So my lat is beating that knee. So once we know here, sometimes they'll fight to beat this leg and get that knee back for a good base. But another common reaction is they'll abort the position and they'll start chasing my top leg, right? So if you're not engaging that thigh and you're lacking there, what tends to happen is they'll pull it out. If they're able to, they'll go for a knee bar from here, right? Start transitioning their leg lock, or they'll pull it all the way over and move us into a 50-50 type position, right? Shutting down the pass variation. So the emphasis is keeping that leg, that foot into that far armpit, but now we're gonna use his attack against them. So as he's extending, I can't do it, drop down, do a leg drag. I beat that, they abort the position looking for that leg. So I have to engage that thigh and stay engaged into that far for knee pit of the knee. From here, I'm gonna base up the exact same way, transitioning all my way to my shoulder, flaring up to my knee, following all the way on top. This is where we can't stop because they're gonna keep attacking that leg, trying to get it free. So my arm that's under is gonna reach up deep. Just going for a nice, good Ezekiel type variation. Into the sleeve, using my arm as a good post, but before I start moving, I have to adjust that top leg to break the grip or create enough space where I can slide up into my chair sit. I'm hovering right over the hips, I'm gonna stay here. Right over the top. Key component from here is often we start extending to finish, which puts a lot of tension on our grips. What I'm gonna do from here is I'm gonna stay blocking the carotid artery, using my top arm, using it to isolate their shoulder, pressing and compressing into the carotid for a quick tap. Right? So we're not extending, which is not wrong, it's a great technique, but I promise when you start extending, you put a lot of tension in your grips. So when I sit here and I start extending, yeah, I'll get the submission, but my grips are paying the price. Right? So a good block, isolate the carotid, using my shoulder over their shoulder, compressing for the tap. Technique comes well when they're defending against the leg drag. Right? So again, he's going through, basing, same approach, dropping in, falling into my leg drag. From here, they abort the position looking to attack the leg. I follow up the exact same way we did previously. Now as they're focusing on that leg, I'm transitioning up past their shoulder, looking for my sleeve. Once I got my sleeve, then I'll focus on their grip. If I'm able to cut that corner while they have a good grip, I'm still gonna sit, I'm not worried about it. Usually they'll break the grip because it's a big angle. Hovering right over their hips, looking for the carotid, but again, I'm not extending. It's not wrong, great technique, toughen the grips. I'm gonna roll my shoulder up, over, downward pressure. Bringing my shoulder towards their ear. One more time. Same approach. Lasso, extend, stop. Can't beat it, dropping into my leg drag. Here, beat the lat, they're chasing the top leg. Right? I'm following up with transitioning my way to my shoulder. Use my hand if it's available to push yourself all the way up. While they're focusing on attacking that leg, looking to get all the way up into a good Ezekiel variation. So isolating the sleeve, using my hand as a post. Now I'm transitioning to a chair sit. I can break the grip prior by extending my leg, putting downward pressure. Then I'm sliding my knee up, side towards their head, allowing my weight to be directly under my body. Over the top. Again, not extending. You can extend, but I like to use that shoulder variation. Over press for the top. Same approach. Here. Dropping my knee, falling into the leg drag. Top person starts looking for, or at least the defender starts looking for the leg attack. I'm following up. Shooting my arm all the way past that neckline. Looking to reinforce good sleeve grip. I like to prep my grip prior to me using that chair sit so I don't have to chase the position. So I use my hand as a base. When I'm ready, I can break the grip if you choose, or if you're able to, start sliding into that knee, like that chair sit. Over the head, roll my shoulder up, downward pressure for the submit. Same approach, cross lasso. Counter everything. Now I can't beat that knee line, so I'm moving into my drop leg drag. Falling into a good leg drag position. Attackers now are going to start looking to attack that top leg. Right? Transitioning up to my shoulder, flaring my knee as we did previously. Use your free hand to help base up. Shooting my arm past their collar, looking to grab my sleeve before I initiate my chair sit. Hand becomes a base, a good post. When I'm ready, I can break their grip and start transitioning with my knee high up towards their head. Feeding my arm in, keeping strong, solid grips, but more importantly, using my shoulder over their shoulder to compress for the submission.
thanks again for allowing us to come out here and post some techniques and show some good techniques. Hope everybody got some value out of that. Just want to thank both Jason and Justin for coming out here to know RYU and allowing us to be part of the channel. Bless.